Easter. Easter is the highest of the Christian holy days, and it's a day often fraught with difficulty for Unitarian Universalists. Oh yeah, we celebrate the resurrection of the earth and the coming of spring, and yet Easter is more than that. Today, our denomination, churches all across the country and in Canada, will celebrate the symbols, the metaphors, and the realities of this important day. But let me be clear, for me, Easter ain't about rabbits that lay eggs. We Unitarian Universalists, we understand Christmas. A baby was born. We understand Good Friday. He died. It's Easter that's difficult for most UUs. Partly because many UUs carry the scars and baggage from a less than ideal religious experience of their past. Most of us, about 60% by some counts, were raised in other denominations. And an increasing number of people arrive here completely unchurched, no affiliation at all. Only a small minority were raised Unitarian Universalist. So with most of us coming from other religious denominations, many of us have left Christianity with pain and even anger. This Easter story is difficult. We struggle with the literal acceptance of the story. But I feel that too many Unitarian Universalists throw out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to Christianity and Easter. Here is my belief. I believe in resurrection. I don't believe in the resurrection, but I believe that resurrections happen. With all my being, I believe in resurrection because I've seen it happen many times. I've seen it happen in people who have somehow summoned up the courage and resistance they didn't even know they had and began again. I've experienced it myself. I have seen resurrections happen in communities like this church, like the church I served last, when people were willing and able to encourage one another, to literally instill a daring braveness in one another to impart courage from heart to heart. No, I don't think a dead man got up and walked, but I do think something happened. Several people had visions of Jesus after his death, and it affected them profoundly. It changed their outlook on his death and their life. Out of tragedy came a triumph. Out of an ending came a new beginning. Out of death came life. I have encountered people who were spiritually hollow, lost in the events of their life, or lost in the pursuit of the illusion of happiness. These folks were spiritually numb. I'd call them spiritually dead. Some folks had sunk so low that they had to reach up to touch bottom. And I've seen a few spiritual zombies wake up to be resurrected into a life of meaning and purpose. Maybe you know some people who have been resurrected this way. Maybe even yourself. Resurrections happen. People are changed and born into a new way of life. It happens. That's resurrection. The worship theme for the month of March has been the gift of transformation. And today it's about our overcoming our resistance to transformations. It's about things that happen that we just don't like. It's about things that happen that we don't even accept. You know what I'm talking about? Those events we didn't see coming, those events that upset our best plans, Those events that just totally tick us off. The diagnosis you get that's totally life-altering. That text in the middle of the night. Events that rip the heart right out of you. We resist, we deny, we resist. But what if there was a life path that didn't resist our fate? What if there was a path that accepted what happens, not naively, not passive surrender, but a love of our fate? I promise you, everything that has happened to you in your past has brought you here today, and it has created who you are today. You may class some of those events as good fortune and others as tragic. But I say that you would not be who you are if it were not for the totality of your experiences. Tragedy and sorrow and pain are part of life. They cannot be avoided. But do we need to be destroyed by them? The Stoic philosophers called it Amor, Fati, a love of your fate. Emperor Marcus Aurelius said it this way: a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Another Stoic, Epictetus, who was a crippled slave and faced adversity after adversity, said it this way: do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens the way it does. Then you will be happy. But in the modern age, it was German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche who brought this philosophy into the Western world. He described his formula for the human greatness as amor fati, the love of fate. Quote, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward nor backwards, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it, end quote. And Nietzsche created this really interesting, perhaps his greatest contribution to philosophy, this great thought experiment called 100 Times. And the experiment goes like this. It's called eternal recurrence. Imagine that everything that has happened to you and will happen to you will be repeated. You will be born again and live through the exact same incidents. Everything, your birth, your birthdays, all the tragedies, all the happiness, and you'll live it over and over and over again. Wouldn't it be better to not deny and fight the pain and sorrow, but just to lean into it, to accept it and to love it as part of who you are being created? Eternal recurrence, that our lives will repeatedly, infinitely, and that each life and each detail will be exactly the same. Nietzsche wrote it this way: every pain, every joy, every thought and sigh, and everything unspeakable, small or great in your life, must return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Wouldn't you begin to see the advantage of loving everything that happened to you? How about not regretting anything from your past? How about not needing to retouch or deny or hide or disguise some of your past? How about facing your life's next challenging event with grace? Nietzsche's eternal recurrence is a litmus test for an individual's capacity to affirm life. Your reaction to the prospect of living every single moment of your life over and over again in sequence is, for Nietzsche, a crucial measure of your ability to become who you truly are. To put it simply, Nietzsche says, say yes to life. So why not start now? Could this be your restart, your reboot? Could this be your dropping of your resistance to what happens as unfair? Could this be your resurrection? I believe Jesus accepted his fate. Amor, Fati. Jesus knew his life was going to end soon when he rode into Jerusalem, and he did it anyway. The crowd who cheered his arrival later turned on him and called for his crucifixion. From what has been written, these events did not alter Jesus' life. His actions, it didn't change. He didn't run, he didn't hide, he didn't deny it. Did he love his faith? Yeah, I think so. That's what is so inspiring to me about this resurrection story. Whether you believe it literally or metaphorically, Jesus was altered, changed, and out of death came life. And the same kind of transformation is available to each one of us. So what about us? What about right now? Can we be resurrected out of our routine, numb to life, to being fully present? Can we accept and fully enjoy each moment? Can we stop denying and burying the unpleasant events? Can we see them as the teachers that they are? Can we be changed to a person who would be willing to live this exact life 100 times, 1,000 times, and be ecstatic and love it each time? Can you see that this kind of existence, your life can be transformative? Can you see that this could be your resurrection? Maybe you could be transformed to a life of not slogging through each day just hoping something bad doesn't happen, to a life of loving what does happen. If an injustice occurs to you, can you love it as becoming a motivation for action? If an injustice occurs to others, can you love it because it draws attention from yourself to help others? You see where this approach to life can lead? Best possible existence. It becomes heaven on earth. Have you ever thought about your life that way? That it's heaven on earth? This is as good as it gets. And it's up to us to love it. Amor, Fati. Jesus was resurrected on Easter Day. His ministry continues to inspire and transform people. Do you believe that you can be transformed? No matter how wonderful you are today, you're not done. A better life is always available. It just starts with a little personal resurrection. Amen, and blessed be